Hello there, and welcome to Science for Bedtime. I'm so glad you found your way here. Tonight, as the world outside softens into stillness, I invite you to settle deeply into the warmth of your blanket, to let your shoulders melt downward like snow loosening from a quiet branch. There is nothing left for you to do now. No tasks waiting in the morning light, no thoughts that need to be solved before sleep arrives. Only this gentle hour, this softly spoken voice, and the slow, peaceful drift toward dreams. Let your eyes grow heavy, like petals folding inward at dusk. Let your breath slow, soft and unhurried, like a lantern flame swaying in still air. Imagine, if you wish, a vast night sky stretched above the world, dusted with quiet stars, and somewhere far away, rising into that velvet darkness, the highest mountain on earth, wrapped in clouds and silence. Tonight, our journey leads us gently to Mount Everest, to the silent slopes where snow falls without a sound, to the ancient stones that have stood watch over centuries, untouched by hurry, to the soft, cold winds that whisper across glaciers older than memory. We will travel together, slowly and tenderly, through 100 peaceful stories woven from this magnificent mountain, its history, its beauty, its quiet legends, and its hidden silences. If you find this voice soothing as you drift, you might quietly tap the like button, or softly follow Science for Bedtime so we can meet again on another restful night. But there is no rush at all. Everything can wait. Even the gentle sound of my voice will continue, watching softly over your rest. So now, let your body sink a little deeper. Let the room grow softer around you. Let the world fade like distant lights seen through a frosted window. Breathe in, breathe out, and let's begin this slow and soothing journey to the roof of the world. High above the sleeping world, far beyond the reach of city lights and ordinary days, there is a place where the sky leans down to touch the earth, a place of pale blue ice and soft white silence, a place where the air grows thin and tender, and where the ancient stones have been waiting patiently for thousands upon thousands of years. Let us drift there now, gently, like a feather carried on a slow evening wind. Let your thoughts grow light, your breathing soft, your mind wonderfully calm. We are about to wander together through 100 peaceful stories of this great and quiet mountain. Nothing to remember, nothing to hold, only the soft unfolding of words like petals opening in the moonlight. So close your eyes, sweet listener, and let us begin. Mount Everest rises softly into the sky, like a sleeping giant wrapped in silver cloth. It stands at the very top of the world, where clouds gather like quiet thoughts and where the wind moves so slowly it almost forgets to breathe. Its summit reaches 29,032 feet above the gentle hush of the sea. Imagine that height, sweet listener, drifting upward through layers of pale blue air, past the homes of eagles, past the soft hush of falling snow, into a stillness so vast it feels like a held breath. The mountain has stood there for millions of years, watching the world below dream and wake and dream again. And yet, tonight, it seems almost to lean closer, whispering its secrets in the softest of voices, inviting you to rest, to drift, to slip away into peaceful, beautiful slumber. The mountain rests upon the spine of the Himalayas, a long range of peaks that ripple across the earth like waves of stone frozen mid-motion. From above, it would look like a great silver ribbon, gleaming softly under the moon. The Himalayas stretch for 1,500 miles, drifting through 5 quiet countries, cradling lakes the color of milk and meadows touched by alpine flowers. Among all these peaks, Everest is the tallest, but the others rise around it like tender companions, sheltering it in their slow, ancient embrace. Picture them now, sweet listener, as a family of giants leaning gently toward one another, beneath a wide and starlit sky, their snowy shoulders catching the silver glow of the moon. There is no hurry in this place, no restless motion, only the slow, patient watch of the mountains, breathing softly with the rhythm of the world. Long, long ago, before any human walked the earth, Everest was not a mountain at all, but the floor of a warm and ancient sea. Soft creatures swam through gentle waters where its summit now rises into the clouds. Tiny shells drifted slowly down through sunlit currents, settling like snowflakes upon the seabed. Then, over millions and millions of years, two great pieces of the earth pressed slowly together, lifting the seabed upward, fold by fold, into the sky. Imagine that slow, patient rising, sweet listener, like a sleeper stretching softly toward the dawn. Even now, fossils of those tiny ocean creatures rest within the stones of the summit, still curled in their delicate spirals, dreaming of the warm sea they once knew. The mountain remembers everything. It carries the sea upon its shoulders. It carries time itself in its quiet, patient bones. The peak of Everest still grows, ever so gently, like a child reaching upward in sleep. Each year, the mountain rises by a few soft millimeters, lifted by the slow, tender pressure of the earth beneath. It is so quiet a movement that no one would ever feel it, yet it continues, year after year, century after century, as patient as the turning of the seasons. Imagine that slow, dreamy rise, sweet listener, like the gentle swell of a chest in deep, restful sleep. The mountain breathes with the breath of the planet itself, drifting upward beneath the silent stars. There is no rush in this growing, no striving, only the calm, ancient rhythm of the earth pressing softly toward the sky. And we, far below, can only watch and wonder, our own breath slowing in time with the mountain's quiet, eternal rise. In the language of Tibet, Everest is called Chomolungma, which means Mother Goddess of the World. The name drifts off the tongue like a soft prayer, a name spoken with reverence by those who have lived in the mountain's shadow for generations. In Nepal, the people call her Sagarmatha, meaning forehead of the sky, a name that paints her as a great being whose calm brow touches the heavens. Each name carries warmth and tenderness, like words a child might whisper to a beloved grandmother. Imagine the mountain hearing these names rise gently from the valleys, drifting up through forests of rhododendron and across silver rivers, settling softly upon her snowy shoulders. To those who know her, she is not a stranger of stone, but a kind and ancient presence, watching quietly over the villages, the rivers, the prayer flags, the children dreaming softly beneath the moon. The summit of Everest is so high that it touches the very edge of the sky, where the air grows thin and the clouds dare not always follow. There, the atmosphere holds only 1/3 of the oxygen found in the gentle valleys below. The wind passes through softly, almost silently, as if even it has forgotten how to roar. Imagine standing in such a place, sweet listener, where each breath is a quiet blessing, where the stars seem to hover just above your head, where the curve of the earth bends softly into the dark. From the summit, on the calmest of mornings, one can see the gentle bow of the planet itself, rolling away in pale shades of rose and gold. It is a place that belongs more to the sky than to the earth, a hushed and holy place, where silence is the only sound. Everest rests upon the border of two ancient lands, Nepal to the south and Tibet to the north, like a quiet bridge between two worlds. Her southern face looks down upon emerald valleys, terraced fields, and tiny villages where prayer wheels turn softly in the morning breeze. Her northern face gazes across the vast, windswept Tibetan plateau, where shepherds tend yaks beneath skies of endless blue. Imagine her, sweet listener, as a great, gentle keeper standing between these two homelands, holding both in her slow embrace, The people on either side have always looked up to her with love, leaving small offerings at her feet, hanging colorful prayer flags along her paths, whispering their hopes to her snowy heights. The mountain belongs to no one, and yet she belongs to everyone who has ever raised their eyes to her shimmering, dreaming summit. The shape of Everest is gentle and pyramidal, with three great faces sloping down like the soft folds of a vast silken robe. The south face looks toward Nepal, the north face turns to Tibet, and the east face, called the Kangshung face, watches over a remote and seldom seen valley where almost no human eyes have ever gazed. Imagine those three quiet faces, sweet listener, each one shaped over millions of years by wind, ice, and patient time. Between them rise the long ridges that climbers gently follow toward the sky, the southeast ridge, the northeast ridge, and the west ridge, each one like a soft path leading upward through silver clouds. The mountain holds her shape with the calm dignity of an ancient elder, weathered, beautiful, and serene, untouched by the small worries of the world far below her dreaming summit. Snow falls upon Everest in a way that seems almost dreamlike, as if the sky itself were softly breathing tiny white feathers down upon the slopes. In the higher reaches, snow never melts, settling in deep, peaceful layers that have rested undisturbed for thousands of years. Walking upon them would be like walking upon a quilt of stars, soft, silent, and luminous beneath the moon. Imagine that snow, sweet listener, falling slowly through still air, each flake a small and perfect crystal, each one different from the next, each one alighting upon the great white shoulders of the mountain like a tiny blessing. The snow muffles every sound, gathering the world into a vast and tender hush. There, time moves like syrup, slow and golden, and the only voice to be heard is the soft hush of falling snow. Drifting downward through the night, glaciers move down the slopes of Everest like rivers of ice that have forgotten how to hurry. They flow at the gentlest of paces, only a few quiet feet each year, carving the valleys below into long and graceful curves. The largest of them is the Khumbu Glacier, which slides softly down from the western shoulder of the mountain, glittering in the morning sun like a frozen sea. Imagine its surface, sweet listener, etched with deep, sapphire crevasses and crowned with towers of ice called seracs that lean and sway like sleeping figures in the wind. The glacier breathes slowly, shifting now and then with a deep, distant sound, like a great creature dreaming. To stand beside it would be to stand beside something ancient and alive, a slow, blue river of frozen time, drifting down toward the gentle warmth of the valleys far below. Among the most enchanting sights upon Everest are the seracs, those great towers of ice that rise from the glaciers like silent sculptures carved by an unseen hand. They appear in countless soft shapes, archways, spires, leaning columns, and curling waves of pale blue crystal. The morning sun touches them gently, and they glow with a tender luminescence, as though lit from within by a quiet candle. Imagine wandering among them, sweet listener, as if walking through the streets of a frozen, dreaming city. They creak softly now and then, breathing in the cold air, shifting in their slow, ancient sleep. Some have stood in the same place for many years, while others lean a little more each season, holding their fragile beauty for a moment longer before giving themselves back to the mountain. They are temporary cathedrals, drifting in time, glowing softly beneath the stars. Around Everest, in the high, pale meadows where the snow gives way to soft tundra, alpine flowers bloom in tiny constellations of color. Tiny pink primulas, blue gentians, and yellow buttercups peek through the rocks during the short summer, opening their petals to a sky that is impossibly close. They are smaller than your smallest fingernail, sweet listener, yet they hold within them all the courage and tenderness of any flower in any garden. Imagine these little blossoms, glowing like fallen stars in the cool grass, gently nodding in the alpine breeze. Bees and tiny mountain insects drift from petal to petal, sipping nectar in the thin, sparkling air. Even at the roof of the world, life unfolds with such quiet beauty, reminding us that softness can flourish in the highest, coldest places, blooming faithfully each summer beneath the mountain's watchful, snowy gaze. High upon the slopes of Everest lives a creature so gentle and elusive that it has been called the ghost of the mountains. The snow leopard, with her thick silver fur and pale jade eyes, drifts through the rocks like a soft cloud. She moves silently, leaving only the lightest of paw prints upon the snow, and she is so well hidden that one could walk right past her and never know. Imagine her, sweet listener, resting upon a sunlit ledge, her long tail curled softly around her body, her gaze quiet and dreamlike, watching the valleys below. She hunts in the early dawn and the violet dusk, and she sleeps through the long, cold afternoons, sheltered among the stones. She is a creature of mystery and grace, a silver shadow upon the high, silent slopes, walking through the mountain like a beautiful, silent dream. The Himalayan tahr, a soft-eyed cousin of the goat, climbs the lower slopes of Everest with quiet, patient steps. Their warm brown fur grows long and shaggy in the winter, and they gather in small, peaceful groups, grazing on the tender grasses of the alpine meadows. Imagine them, sweet listener, standing upon a sun-warmed ledge as the morning mist drifts gently past, their gentle eyes half closed, their breath rising softly in the cool air. They are not in any hurry. They have nowhere to be. They simply move, nibble, rest, and watch the world unfold around them with sweet, unhurried calm. The young tahr leap from stone to stone with playful grace, while the elders stand watch, their wise gaze drifting toward the silent peaks above. They have known the mountain for generations, and the mountain has cradled them softly through every season. Higher up, in the wind-swept reaches where the snow stretches endless, lives the small mountain hare, a tiny creature whose fur turns pure white in winter, perfectly matching the snow. She moves in soft, quiet leaps, leaving little dimples in the powder, as gentle as a pebble dropped into still water. Imagine her, sweet listener, sitting peacefully beside a stone, her dark eyes shining like polished jet, her soft ears tilting toward the sound of the wind. She nibbles dried mosses and tiny mountain herbs, sheltering in shallow burrows when the snow grows deeper. Her heart beats softly, her breath puffs in tiny clouds, and her presence is so light upon the world that even the snow does not seem disturbed beneath her. She is a small, white whisper of life in a vast white silence, a tender soul upon the great sleeping mountain. The bar-headed goose is one of the only creatures who can fly across the very summit of Everest. Twice each year, these gentle birds rise into the thin air and cross the great spine of the Himalayas, their wings beating with steady, patient grace. They have something special inside them, a kind of soft magic in their blood that lets them breathe where almost nothing else can. Imagine them, sweet listener, gliding over the dreaming summit at sunrise, their soft grey feathers tinged with rose, their long necks stretched gracefully toward the south. Below them, the mountain shines in silence, and around them, the sky stretches in endless pale blue. They call to one another in soft, musical voices, voices carried on wind that tastes of starlight and stone. They are the wandering minstrels of the Himalayas, singing the old songs of the high, quiet sky. In the soft, low-lying forests below Everest, where the air grows warm and rich with the scent of pine and rhododendron, the red panda makes her quiet home. She is no bigger than a house cat, with cinnamon-colored fur, a long, ringed tail, and a face that seems perpetually gentle and dreaming. Imagine her, sweet listener, curled high in the branches of a fir tree, her tail wrapped around her like a soft blanket, her eyes half closed in the dappled afternoon light. She sleeps through much of the day, waking softly at dusk to nibble bamboo shoots and tender berries. She moves with a slow, careful grace, climbing tree to tree like a small, fiery cloud drifting through the green canopy. The forest is her cathedral, the bamboo her sweet supper, and the slow, patient rhythm of the mountain is her gentle lullaby. The yak is perhaps the most beloved companion of the Everest region, a great, woolly creature with kind, deep-set eyes and a heart full of patient warmth. Yaks have walked beside the people of these mountains for thousands of years, carrying gentle loads, providing soft milk, and warming homes with their thick, curly fur. Imagine them, sweet listener, walking slowly along a dusty mountain path at sunset, their bells ringing softly in the high air, their breath rising in clouds of tender white. Their long fur sways like winter grass in the wind, and their footsteps fall as soft as falling snow. They are creatures of ancient calm, untroubled by the highest of altitudes, content to graze among the rocks and lichens of the high meadows. To watch a yak is to feel the mountain itself walking peacefully beside you under the open sky. The people who live closest to Everest are the Sherpa, a gentle and resilient community whose ancestors crossed the high passes from Tibet many centuries ago. They have lived among the snow and stone for generations, learning the mountain's quiet songs, walking her paths, and tending her sacred places. Imagine, sweet listener, a small Sherpa village nestled in a valley of soft, terraced fields, where prayer flags flutter gently from rooftops and the smell of pine smoke drifts on the cool morning air. Children play in the dusty lanes, elders spin prayer wheels with weathered, loving hands, and yaks rest peacefully in the shadow of the chortens. The Sherpa hold the mountain in deep reverence, calling her by her soft, sacred names. They live at her feet with grace and humility, and the mountain, in turn, watches over them like a patient and tender mother. In the heart of the Everest region stands the ancient monastery of Tengbok, perched upon a soft green ridge at 12,687 feet. From its courtyard, one can see the great mountain rising in silent majesty, framed by the gentle peaks of Ama Dablam and Lhotse. Imagine, sweet listener, the slow, deep sound of a brass horn drifting through the mountain air at dawn, calling the monks to morning prayer. Inside the monastery, butter lamps flicker softly, and the air is sweet with the scent of juniper smoke and old wood. Crimson robes drift gently down stone hallways, and chants rise like a soft, harmonic murmur, carrying centuries of devotion. The monastery has stood through earthquakes and storms, rebuilt with patience and love each time, a quiet beacon of peace at the foot of the great, dreaming mountain. Prayer flags flutter all across the Everest region, in long, colorful chains strung between trees and rooftops. Between stone cairns and high passes, they come in 5 gentle colors: blue for the sky, white for the wind, for the fire, green for the water, and yellow for the earth. Imagine them, sweet listener, dancing softly in the alpine breeze, their soft fabric printed with old Sanskrit prayers, their colors fading slowly under the patient sun. As the wind passes through them, it is said to carry their gentle blessings outward across the world, to all sentient beings, to all dreaming hearts. The flags grow soft and threadbare with the years, slowly returning to the mountain. While new ones are hung in their place, they are like wishes given to the wind, fluttering between earth and sky, whispering tender prayers in the cool, clear air. Each spring, when the long winter softens into a tender thaw, the wildflowers of the Everest valleys begin to bloom in waves of color. Pink and white rhododendrons unfurl across the lower slopes, painting the hillsides like a slow watercolor. Higher up, blue poppies open their fragile petals beside cold streams, and tiny edelweiss appear like pale stars among the rocks. Imagine, sweet listener, walking through these meadows at the very first hour of spring, when the snow still lingers in patches and the air is full of the soft scent of new grass. Bees drift from blossom to blossom. Butterflies float on the warming wind, and the whole valley seems to breathe a slow, sweet sigh of awakening. Even the great mountain above seems softer in this season, draped in mist, listening with quiet tenderness to the music of returning life. The Khumbu Valley, which lies at the southern foot of Everest, is a place of dreamlike beauty, threaded with silver rivers and dotted with quiet villages. The Dud Kosi River flows through it, its name meaning milk river, for its waters run pale and milky with the gentle melt of distant glaciers. Imagine, sweet listener, the soft music of that river, splashing over smooth stones, curling between mossy banks, drifting endlessly toward the warm valleys far below. Wooden footbridges hung with prayer flags cross the river at gentle intervals, swaying ever so softly in the alpine breeze. Villages perch on green hillsides, their stone houses topped with slate roofs that gleam in the afternoon sun. Smoke from cooking fires drifts upward into the cool air, mingling with the soft scent of pine and earth, weaving the valley together like a slow, gentle song. In the quiet village of Namche Bazaar, nestled within a great natural amphitheater of hills, weekly markets unfold in slow and colorful rhythm. Traders bring their goods from far valley, carrying baskets of grain, salt, dried herbs, and woven fabrics. Imagine, sweet listener, the soft murmur of voices in many languages, the gentle clinking of brass bells on yak harnesses, the warm scent of butter tea drifting from open doorways. Stalls overflow with bright fabrics, tiny brass figures, prayer beads of polished bone, and necklaces of turquoise and coral. Children weave between the legs of grown-ups, small feet padding softly upon stone paths, while elders sit upon low benches, sipping their tea and watching the world pass by. There is no hurry here. The market unfolds at its own gentle pace, like a slow, colorful dream beneath the watchful gaze of the mountain, long before any person ever stood upon her summit. Everest was already a sacred place in the hearts of the Sherpa and the Tibetans. They believed the mountain was the home of gentle spirits and protective deities, beings of light who watched over the valleys and brought blessings to those who lived in their shadow. Even the smallest streams and stones were thought to hold a quiet sacredness, and travelers would leave little offerings at high passes, a coin, a stone, a soft prayer whispered to the wind. Imagine, sweet listener, that view of the world, where every part of the mountain held a story, where every breeze carried a blessing, where the soft glow of butter lamps in distant monasteries reached even to the highest, snowiest peaks. The mountain was not a thing to be conquered, but a presence to be loved, honored, and gently held in the heart. The first time the world outside the Himalayas heard of Everest's true height was in the year 1852, when a quiet Indian mathematician named Radhanath Sikdar gently calculated the numbers in a small office in Calcutta. He worked by candlelight, with paper and patient pencil, surrounded by stacks of measurements taken from far across the plains of India. Imagine him, sweet listener, leaning softly over his desk, his eyes drifting back and forth across the figures, until at last he looked up and whispered to a colleague that he had found the highest mountain on earth. There was no fanfare, no celebration, just a small, astonished hush in a quiet room. The mountain itself, of course, knew nothing of being measured. She continued to dream beneath her snowy crown, undisturbed. As the news of her grandeur began to drift slowly across the world, the mountain was given her English name in honor of Sir George Everest, a former Surveyor General of India, though he himself never wished it. He preferred that mountains keep their local names the names whispered for centuries by the people who lived in their shadow. Imagine him, sweet listener, a quiet, modest man, hearing of the honor and gently shaking his head, asking that the mountain be called Chomolungma or Sagarmatha instead. But the name Everest had already drifted into the maps and onto the tongues of distant nations, settling like a soft veil of language over the great peak. Today, the mountain carries all three names, each one tender in its own way, each one a different window into her vast and ancient presence. And in every language, she remains the same, silent, dreaming, lifted high into the soft and starry sky. The first explorers from afar to gaze upon Everest with their own eyes were a small group of British surveyors and naturalists in the early 1900s. They traveled for weeks across India, then through the long, winding valleys of Tibet, until at last they came upon the mountain rising in dreamlike majesty. Imagine them, sweet listener, standing on a high pass, their breath catching softly in the thin air, their eyes brimming with wonder. They had seen many great mountains, but nothing like this. The summit floated above the clouds, glowing a tender rose at sunset, untouched by any human path. They sat down upon the cool stones to simply look, forgetting their notebooks, forgetting their maps. For a long, quiet hour, they simply watched her, the way one might watch a sleeping child, with awe, with tenderness, with a great and gentle love. In the early days of exploration, the journey to even the foot of Everest was long, slow, and dreamlike. There were no roads, no helicopters, no swift carriages. Travelers walked for many weeks through the warm jungles of India, then upward into the cool, misted hills of Sikkim and Tibet, then onward across the high, golden plateau. Imagine, sweet listener, those long caravans of porters and ponies, winding gently through valleys carpeted in wildflowers, crossing rivers of milky blue, sleeping beneath star-strewn skies in soft canvas tents. There was no rush in such a journey. The days unfolded one by one, slow and tender, marked by the rhythm of footsteps, the warmth of campfire smoke, the songs of mountain birds at dawn. By the time the travelers reached the foot of the mountain, they had become slower themselves, their hearts attuned to the patient breath of the high, quiet world. In 1921, a small British team made the first quiet attempt to find a path toward the summit of Everest. They were not yet trying to climb her, only to map her gentle slopes, to find a way that future climbers might one day take. Imagine them, sweet listener, walking softly through valleys no outside person had ever seen before, sketching tender maps in their small notebooks, naming the streams and the passes with quiet care. They did not always succeed in finding paths, and many days were spent simply turning back, returning to their tents, drinking warm tea by lantern light. Yet there was no failure. At sunrise upon Everest, a soft phenomenon called alpenglow paints the snow in tender shades of rose and gold. The first rays of the sun strike the highest tip of the mountain, while the valleys below remain wrapped in soft blue shadow. Imagine, sweet listener, watching that quiet moment from a high ridge when the summit blushes pink as a sleeping flower, then warms slowly into amber, then drifts gently into pale gold. The light moves down the mountain at the soft pace of dreams, awakening each ridge, each glacier, each hidden valley. It is one of the most beloved sights of the entire Himalayan world, and travelers wake before dawn just to witness it. Even the most weary climber will pause to watch, their breath held softly, their heart utterly still, as the great mountain greets the morning in a gown of glowing, sleepy color. At sunset, the alpenglow returns again, though now in reverse, climbing gently upward as the light leaves the valleys behind. The lower slopes fade first into soft purple, then the middle ridges, then at last, only the summit remains. glowing like a single candle flame against a deepening velvet sky. Imagine, sweet listener, that final, tender light, lingering upon the highest peak, glowing pink and gold and rose, as though the mountain were holding the last warmth of the day in her snowy hands. Slowly, softly, that glow fades too, slipping into shades of lavender, then into the soft grey of twilight, and then, at last, the summit drifts into night, and the first stars begin to appear above her, twinkling shyly, one by one, until the whole sky becomes a velvet sea of quiet, dreaming lights. The night sky above Everest is one of the most beautiful in the world, with no city lights for hundreds of miles, and the air so thin and clear, the stars shine with a softness that is almost startling. Imagine, sweet listener, looking up from a high camp at midnight, the darkness above so deep and tender that the stars seem to have gathered close, leaning down to whisper. The Milky Way arches across the sky like a long, glowing river, and shooting stars drift now and then across its silvery face. The mountain herself seems to glow softly under their light, her snowy slopes pale as moonlit silk. There is no other place quite like it. The night feels alive, gentle, and infinitely wide. To stand beneath such a sky is to feel oneself softly held by the universe itself. When the moon rises over Everest, bathes the entire mountain in a soft, silver light. The peaks gleam like polished pearl, the glaciers shine like long ribbons of silk, and the snow takes on a quiet, dreamlike luminescence. Imagine, sweet listener, the great, full moon climbing slowly above the eastern ridges, casting a long path of light across the ice fields, illuminating every crevasse, every silent slope. The shadows are long and soft, the silence is deep and tender, and the world seems suspended in a soft, silver hush. Climbers in their tents will sometimes wake to such a sight, gazing through the open flap at the moonlit mountain, feeling a quiet awe wash through them. Then they slip back into sleep, gently held by the soft glow, their dreams woven from silver light and patient, ancient stone. The temperature near the summit of Everest can drop to 40 degrees below zero in the deep of winter, but in the warm afternoon sun of late spring, the air softens into a gentle chill. Even then, the cold has a particular quality, dry and crisp, like the inside of a soft frozen apple. Imagine, sweet listener, the touch of that high mountain air upon your cheeks, cool and tender, smelling faintly of snow and stone and clean, distant sky. There is no scent of city, no scent of forest, only the pure, delicate fragrance of the high places. The sun feels especially warm upon the skin in such cold air, like a soft golden hand resting upon your face. Climbers learn to dress in many layers of soft warmth, peeling them off and putting them back on as the day breathes through its slow, quiet hours. The shadow of Everest, cast at sunrise across the sky to the west, is one of the most magical sights upon the mountain. As the sun rises behind the peak, its great triangular shadow stretches outward across the lower clouds, projected onto the morning haze like a soft, drifting silhouette. Imagine, sweet listener, watching that vast shadow form as the sun climbs slowly upward, a perfect dark triangle laid gently across the pale gold sky, hovering above the western horizon. It seems to float, weightless, like a dream cast upon the morning. Slowly, slowly, as the sun rises higher, the shadow drifts downward, fading at last into the warming light of day. It is a brief and tender wonder, glimpsed only by those who wake before dawn, gifted only to the patient. Silent watchers upon the high silver ridges, ice climbers sometimes come upon strange and wonderful patterns within the glaciers of Everest. Inside deep crevasses, the ice glows in shades of cobalt, sapphire, and midnight blue, as though the heart of the glacier were lit by a quiet, hidden lantern. Imagine, sweet listener, peering down into one of these tender, glowing chasms, the cold blue light rising softly toward the surface like a slow, drifting star. The deeper the ice, the older it is, and the deeper its color. Some of the ice within these crevasses has been frozen for thousands of years, holding within it the breath of ancient skies. The soft snow of long-ago winters, the quiet history of the world. To gaze into such a place is to look gently backward through time, into the dreaming, blue heart of the patient, slow-moving mountain. Snowflakes form in many beautiful shapes upon Everest, depending on the temperature and the moisture of the air. Some are tiny six-sided stars, soft as lace. Some are flat, hexagonal plates, smooth as polished glass. Some are needle-shaped, slender as eyelashes, drifting downward with gentle, dreamlike grace. Imagine, sweet listener, holding out your hand and watching one settle upon your glove, then leaning close to see its tiny, intricate beauty. Each one is unique, no two ever exactly alike, each one a small and perfect blessing from the high, quiet sky. Up on the slopes of the mountain, billions upon billions of these tiny snowflakes drift down each season, weaving themselves into the great soft blanket of the snowfields. The whole mountain is slowly built of these tender little stars, falling forever, in patient, slow grace. Avalanches sometimes drift gently down the slopes of Everest, like long, slow rivers of soft white snow. From a great distance, they look almost like waterfalls in slow motion, cascading down the great walls of stone with a soft, distant rumble. Imagine, sweet listener, watching from a far ridge as a great cloud of white tumbles slowly down a far slope, glittering in the afternoon sun, like a great, drifting dream. The sound reaches the ears only after the sight, soft and muffled by the distance, like the gentle sigh of a great sleeping creature. Most avalanches happen in places untouched by climbers, far from the gentle paths, in the great, untouched silences of the mountain. They are simply part of her slow, eternal breathing, her gentle rearranging of snow, her patient, quiet way of being. The Bay of Bengal, far to the south of Everest, sends gentle clouds of moisture northward each summer in the season called the monsoon. These soft, grey clouds rise up over the mountain, dropping their rain on the lower slopes and their snow upon the higher peaks. Imagine, sweet listener, the long, patient journey of those clouds, drifting north from the warm sea, climbing higher and higher into the cool mountain sky, until at last they release their tender burden upon the slopes of Everest. The monsoon rains nourish the green valleys, fill the silver rivers, and feed the patient glaciers far above. Without the monsoon, the great Himalayan world would not be the lush, dreamy place it is. The mountain depends upon the sea upon the mountain, all of it woven together in a slow, beautiful breathing. When the monsoon season ends in late September, the air over Everest grows still and clear once more, and the mountain reveals herself in her full and tender beauty. The skies are deep and impossibly blue, the snow gleams softly in the afternoon sun, and the world feels newly washed and freshly dreaming. Imagine, sweet listener, standing in a Himalayan valley on such an autumn morning, the air cool and crystalline, the mountain rising in clear, soft majesty above the green hills. The harvest is ripening in the fields, the apples are red and round on the trees, and the whole landscape seems suspended in a long, golden sigh. It is the most peaceful season of the year, when travelers can walk the gentle paths and look upward at Everest, knowing she has emerged from her veil of monsoon mist, whole and luminous and dreaming in the deep of winter. Everest enters her most quiet and untouched time. Few climbers come now, For the wind is fierce and the cold is deep, and the mountain prefers her solitude. The slopes lie in silent, glittering whiteness, the air sparkling with tiny crystals of suspended ice. Imagine, sweet listener, the great silence of the mountain in midwinter, when not a single voice breaks the hush, when the prayer flags hang heavy with frost, when the whole world seems to be holding a long, soft breath. The shadows of the mountains stretch long across the snow, painted in deep blue and lavender. Sometimes, on the clearest of nights, the aurora glimmers faintly to the north, a soft pale curtain of green and rose. The mountain rests then, dreaming her deepest dreams, untouched by any footstep, alone and luminous beneath the stars. Springtime returns slowly to the slopes of Everest. With the first soft warming of the sun in late February, the lower hillsides begin to green, the rhododendrons unfurl their first buds, and the snowline creeps a little higher each day. Imagine, sweet listener, walking through a Khumbu valley in early spring, the air still cool but soft with promise, the streams beginning to murmur again beneath their thinning ice. Wildflowers peek out shyly from the meadows, and the birds return in slow, joyful waves, filling the trees with their gentle songs. The mountain herself seems to soften in this season, her snows tinged with the warmer light, glaciers sighing in slow, patient melt. It is a season of waking, of stretching, of gentle returning. The whole valley breathes deeper, dreamier, as the world drifts upward into the soft promise of warmth. The Himalayan griffon vulture is one of the largest birds to be seen above the slopes of Everest. With wings that stretch as wide as a tall person, they glide on the warm thermals that rise from the sun-warmed slopes, drifting in great, slow circles, hardly ever flapping their gentle wings. Imagine, sweet listener, looking up at one of these great birds floating high above the mountain, its silhouette dark against the pale sky, its wings barely moving as it sails on the patient air. They live in the high cliffs, their nests tucked into rocky ledges, and they raise a single chick each year with quiet, devoted care. To watch them soar is to feel the great, slow rhythm of the mountain itself, to feel the soft pull of altitude, to drift, in spirit, with them through the quiet sky. The lammergeier, also called the bearded vulture, is a strange and beautiful bird that sails the skies above Everest with quiet majesty. She has a soft golden chest, long grey wings, and a quiet, knowing face. She is the only bird in the world that lives almost entirely on bones, dropping them from great heights onto stones below to crack them open. Imagine, sweet listener, watching one of these gentle birds drift in slow circles above a high meadow, her shadow drifting across the grass, her wings catching the soft alpine light. There is something deeply ancient about her, as though she were a creature from an older, quieter age. The lammergeier is sacred to many of the Himalayan peoples, who see in her a symbol of the soft cycling between life and time, between sky and stone, all gently held in the great mountain's gaze. In Tibetan and Sherpa tradition, the natural world is alive with gentle spirits called Lu, who live in streams, lakes, trees, and stones. To honor them, people place small offerings beside the water and in shaded forests. Imagine, sweet listener, walking along a quiet mountain trail and seeing a small pile of stones beside a clear stream, perhaps a tiny ribbon tied to a branch, perhaps a few grains of rice scattered upon a flat rock. These are gifts to the spirits, soft offerings of friendship and respect. Travelers will often pause beside such places, whispering small thanks, leaving their own gentle offerings before continuing on. It is a way of moving through the world with quiet attention, with soft kindness, with the understanding that every place has a soul of its own. The whole mountain is alive with these gentle, watching presences. Mani stones are smooth river stones, gently carved with sacred Tibetan prayers, and they are gathered in long, low walls along the trails throughout the Everest region. The most common prayer carved upon them is Om Mani Padme Hum, a soft mantra of compassion. Imagine, sweet listener, walking past such a wall, the stones piled like a long, low ribbon of carved softness, each one polished by the wind and the rain of many years. Travelers always pass these walls on the left side, walking clockwise around them, in keeping with old, gentle tradition. Some stones are very old, their carvings worn soft and silver, others are bright and freshly cut, placed by recent pilgrims. Together they form a slow, prayer-filled river of stone, winding gently through the mountain world, whispering soft blessings to all who pass beside them. Chortens are graceful white shrines that dot the landscape of the Everest region, like small, silent temples standing guard over the mountain paths. They are shaped like soft pyramids with rounded domes, painted white with golden tops, and they are filled with sacred objects and prayers. Imagine, sweet listener, coming upon one in the soft light of morning, the white walls glowing in the new sunlight, the prayer flags fluttering gently around it, the whole structure surrounded by a quiet aura of peace. Travelers walk slowly around the Chortens in a clockwise direction, gently turning prayer wheels as they pass. Each turn of the wheel, each step around the Chorten, is a small, quiet act of devotion. The Chortens stand in their patient stillness, blessing all who walk near them, holding the mountain together in a soft, gentle web of prayer. Butter lamps are small, golden flames that flicker softly in monasteries throughout the Everest region, kept lit day and night as offerings of light and warmth. They are made by filling small brass cups with clarified yak butter and lighting wicks of cotton thread. Imagine, sweet listener, stepping into a quiet monastery in the morning, the air warm and softly fragrant. Dozens of tiny flames flickering in their golden cups, casting a tender, dancing light upon the painted walls. Pilgrims will often light a butter lamp as a soft prayer for a loved one, for healing, for peace. The flames are gentle and small, but they have been kept burning, in some monasteries, for many centuries, passed from wick to wick in slow, unbroken devotion. Each tiny flame is a soft heartbeat of light against the great mountain's quiet, eternal night. The Mani Rimdu festival is a beloved celebration held each autumn at the Tengboche monastery. When the monks perform sacred dances in elaborate costumes of silk and bone and colored masks, the festival lasts for several days, drawing pilgrims from villages all across the Khumbu region. Imagine, sweet listener, the soft excitement of the festival, the courtyard filled with colorful crowds, the slow, deep beat of the drums, the rich crimson and gold of the dancing monks. The masks are painted with the faces of fierce protectors and gentle deities, and each dance tells a soft, ancient story. Children peer wide-eyed from the laps of grandparents, elders sip tea and smile in quiet recognition, and the great mountain rises above it all, watching with patient calm. It is a festival that has been celebrated for centuries, weaving the people and the mountain together in soft devotion. The Buddhist tradition of the Sherpa holds that all sentient beings are connected by a soft, invisible thread of compassion, and that every act of kindness ripples outward through the world. This understanding flavors the entire Everest region with a gentle warmth, where even strangers are treated as family, where travelers are welcomed into homes for tea and bread and conversation. Imagine, sweet listener, walking into a small Sherpa kitchen, the air warm with the scent of butter tea and toasted barley, an elderly woman smiling and gesturing for you to sit on the cushioned bench by the wall. There is no language barrier when there is kindness. Bowls of warm soup appear, blankets are tucked around shoulders, gentle questions are asked through smiles and gestures. The mountain teaches kindness, and the Sherpa carry that lesson softly outward, to every traveler who walks within her embrace. Tibetan Buddhism, which shapes much of the spiritual life of the Everest region, teaches that the mind is naturally luminous and quiet, like a still mountain lake. The thoughts and worries that drift across it are like tiny ripples on the surface, but the depth beneath remains forever calm. Imagine, sweet listener, your mind as such a lake, perfectly still beneath the surface, reflecting the stars above without disturbance. Whatever thoughts may drift across, however gentle or fleeting, they cannot disturb the quiet depths. This is a teaching as old as the mountain herself, a soft and beautiful way of seeing the heart. To rest the mind is not to push thoughts away, but to remember the deep, calm stillness that always lies beneath. Even now, drifting towards sleep, you can feel that quiet lake within you, vast and peaceful and softly shining. Meditation has been practiced for many centuries in the monasteries of the Himalayas, often in small caves and quiet rooms where the only sound is the soft drip of water and the gentle tick of butter lamp wicks. Imagine, sweet listener, a small mountain cave high above a valley, soft sunlight drifting through a single opening. A single monk sitting in quiet stillness upon a folded cushion. His eyes are softly closed. His breath rises and falls in patient rhythm, and the whole world seems to slow around him. Outside, the wind moves through the prayer flags. The snow drifts softly down upon the stones. The mountain rises in vast, silent majesty. Inside the cave, time has gone soft. There is no worry, no urgency, only stillness, only breath, only the gentle, golden glow of the flickering butter lamp upon the soft cave wall. The breath, in Buddhist tradition, is seen as a soft bridge between the body and the mind, a quiet rhythm that gently connects the inner and outer worlds. Many Sherpa elders speak of the breath as a tender friend, always faithful, always patient, always gently moving in and out, like waves upon a quiet shore. Imagine, sweet listener, your own breath now, soft and unhurried, drifting in and out without any effort, like a slow tide beneath a sleeping moon. There is nothing for you to do, nothing to control. The breath knows its own gentle rhythm, and it carries you softly through every moment of your life. As you listen to it now, you may feel your body softening, your shoulders loosening, your thoughts drifting gently away, like small leaves carried on a slow and lazy stream toward the welcoming dusk. In the high valleys near Everest, sound travels in strange and beautiful ways. A bell rung in one village can be heard softly across the silent slopes, miles away, by a herder watching his yaks beside a still lake. The voice of a chanting monk can carry for great distances on calm mornings, drifting downward like a soft, golden ribbon of sound. Imagine, sweet listener, lying upon a soft blanket of grass in such a valley, your eyes gently closed, your ears open to the distant music of the mountain world. A bell rings somewhere far away, soft and silver. A bird calls from a distant tree. The breeze whispers across the meadow. The whole landscape sings a soft, gentle song, carried on the cool, thin air. There is no need to listen carefully. The sounds simply find their way to you, like soft, drifting blessings from the patient mountain. The rivers that flow from Everest are among the most beloved in the world. The mountain feeds the headwaters of great rivers like the Ganges, the Brahmaputra, and the Yangtze, which travel for thousands of miles across Asia, nourishing villages, fields, and forests. Imagine, sweet listener, the slow, patient journey of those waters, beginning as quiet drops of melted snow upon Everest's high glaciers, then trickling downward, gathering, growing, joining other gentle streams, becoming, at last, great rivers that carry life across continents. Each drop has touched the dreaming summit. Each drop carries the soft memory of the mountain. To stand beside any of these rivers, even far away in a hot lowland city, is to be touched, in some small way, by the patient gift of Everest. The mountain is not just a peak. She is a slow, generous fountain, pouring blessings outward across the world, far below the snowline. In the gentle valleys of the Khumbu, the people of Everest tend small terraced fields of barley, potatoes, and buckwheat. The terraces curve along the hillsides like soft green ribbons, each one a thin shelf of patient earth held in place by stone walls built generations ago. Imagine, sweet listener, walking through these terraces in late summer, the barley rippling softly in the alpine breeze, the air warm with sun, the great mountain rising silent and watchful in the distance. The farmers move slowly through the fields, gathering the gentle harvest by hand, their work blessed by the soft chanting of birds and the distant tinkle of yak bells. The terraces have been farmed for centuries in this same patient way, each generation adding their small care, each season unfolding in slow, golden rhythm beneath the mountain's tender gaze. The traditional houses of the Sherpa villages are made of soft stone and weathered wood, with low ceilings, thick walls, and small windows that hold in the warmth. The roofs are layered with slate or wooden shingles, and the door frames are often painted in soft blue and gold. Imagine, sweet listener, stepping into one such home in the late afternoon, the air warm with the smell of butter tea and barley bread, sunlight slanting through a small window onto a wooden table. An iron stove crackles softly in the corner, casting a tender orange glow. Cushions line the walls, embroidered with simple, beautiful patterns. The host smiles and pours tea into a small wooden cup, and you sip it slowly, feeling the warmth spread through your tired body. These homes have sheltered families for many generations, each stone laid with patient love. Tea in the Everest region is not just a drink, but a soft, gentle ritual woven through every part of daily life. Butter tea, known as suja, is made from black tea, salt, and yak butter, churned together until it becomes warm and creamy. It has a soft, savory taste, almost like a gentle soup, and it warms the body in the high cold air. Imagine, sweet listener, holding a small wooden cup of butter tea between your hands, feeling its warmth seep into your palms, sipping slowly as the steam curls softly upward. The taste is unlike anything else in the world, rich, salty, gentle, deeply soothing. The Sherpa drink many cups of it through the day, sharing pots with family, friends, and travelers. To drink butter tea is to be welcomed into the soft heart of the mountain world. The traditional dress of the Sherpa is woven from soft wool, dyed in deep, rich colors of crimson, indigo, and forest green. The women wear long dresses called chubas, gathered at the waist with colorful sashes, and the men wear similar, slightly shorter robes over loose trousers. Imagine, sweet listener, watching a Sherpa elder walking slowly along a mountain path, her chuba swaying gently, a colorful apron tied softly around her waist, her silver jewelry catching the soft afternoon light. The clothes are warm and beautifully simple, made to last for many years, often passed down through generations. Each pattern has its own meaning. Each color holds its own quiet history. The clothes seem to have absorbed the spirit of the mountain itself, woven through with the same softness, the same patience, the same dreamy, ancient grace. Singing bowls, made of soft bronze, are traditional musical instruments used in many Himalayan monasteries. When struck gently with a wooden mallet, they produce a long, deep, resonant tone that seems to fill the entire room with quiet vibration. Imagine, sweet listener, sitting in a softly lit monastery as a monk strikes a singing bowl, the long note rising and falling like a slow, golden wave, drifting through the air, settling softly into your bones. The sound is not loud, but it is deep, deep enough to feel inside your chest, soft enough to make your eyelids grow heavy. Singing bowls are used in meditation and healing, their gentle vibrations softening the body, calming the mind, drawing the listener into a state of slow, dreamy peace. Even in a written description, the bowl's soft hum seems to echo here. Gentle and warm, the thangkas of Tibetan Buddhism are beautiful painted scrolls, made on cotton or silk, depicting deities, mandalas, and quiet scenes from sacred stories. They are painted by hand, with colors made from minerals and plants, and a single thangka can take many months or even years to complete. Imagine, sweet listener, standing before a thangka in the soft glow of butter lamps, gazing at its delicate detail, the gold leaf glinting softly, the colors deep and dreamy, the figures painted with the patience of generations. Each tiny brushstroke was placed with quiet love, each color chosen with sacred care. The thangkas are not just paintings but prayers in visual form, soft windows into the gentle inner world. They are kept in temples and monasteries throughout the Everest region, watching softly over the chanting monks, holding their stillness through the long, dreaming centuries. Mandalas are circular sacred images, often made of colored sand, that monks create with great patience over many days. Each grain of sand is placed by hand, using small metal funnels, building up the intricate patterns one tiny sprinkle at a time. Imagine, sweet listener, watching a group of monks in soft crimson robes, leaning gently over a wide tabletop, sprinkling sand in shades of saffron, indigo, ruby, and pale gold, building up a beautiful pattern of swirling forms. The room is quiet, broken only by the soft tap of the funnels and the gentle breathing of the monks. After many days, when the mandala is complete and exquisite, the monks gently sweep it away, dissolving its beauty back into impermanence, releasing the colored sand into a flowing stream. It is a soft and beautiful teaching. Nothing lasts, and yet everything matters. Yak hair is woven into many warm and useful things in the Everest region. It is spun into soft yarn for blankets, ropes, and even tents. The long, dark fibers naturally water-resistant and wonderfully insulating. Imagine, sweet listener, the slow, patient work of spinning yak hair on a small wooden spindle, the fingers moving in gentle rhythm, the soft yarn winding round and round. The smell of the yak hair is earthy and warm, like sun-dried meadows. The dark, woolly tents, called bass, made of woven yak hair, are pitched on the high plateaus, and they hold their warmth even on the coldest nights. Inside such a tent, with a small fire burning gently in the center, and the soft scent of yak butter tea curling through the air, one can rest peacefully, listening to the wind whisper across the high, quiet meadows. The Khumbu Glacier ends in a soft pile of ice and stones called a moraine, where the great river of ice slowly returns itself to the earth. Beyond the moraine, small ponds of meltwater shine like silver coins beneath the sun, sometimes turning a soft turquoise from the minerals dissolved within them. Imagine, sweet listener, sitting beside one of these small, glittering ponds, the air still and cool, the water glassy and reflective, the great mountains rising silently around you. Tiny insects sometimes hover just above the surface, and now and then a small ripple drifts across the water, where a stone has shifted somewhere deep beneath. The whole place feels suspended in time, untouched, dreaming. You could rest here for hours, gazing into the soft, blue water, feeling the world slow around you, your breath softening into the slow rhythm of the mountain sleep. The Sherpa have a beautiful tradition of welcoming travelers with white silk scarves called khatas. The scarves are placed gently around the neck of the visitor, as a soft blessing of safe journey and peaceful arrival. Imagine, sweet listener, arriving at a small Sherpa lodge after a long day of walking. your legs tired but your heart full, and the host gently draping a white khata over your shoulders, smiling softly. The silk is soft against your neck, light as a breath, and you feel deeply welcomed into the mountain world. The khata is a symbol of pure intention, of soft warmth between strangers, of the deep tradition of hospitality that flows through the Himalayan valleys. To receive one is to feel, even far from home, that you have arrived somewhere that has been waiting for you, somewhere kind and good. Yak caravans still travel the high passes of the Himalayas, carrying goods between distant villages, just as they have for centuries. The yaks walk slowly, their bells ringing in soft, irregular rhythm, their breath rising in clouds in the cool air. Imagine, sweet listener, watching such a caravan winding gently through a high pass at dusk, the yaks dark against the soft pink snow, their long fur swaying with each patient step, the herders walking quietly beside them, wrapped in thick wool cloaks. The bells make a soft, distant music, like a gentle wind chime, and the caravan moves at the unhurried pace that yaks have always preferred. They will travel for many days, resting at small stone shelters, drinking from clear streams, sleeping beneath the stars. It is a way of moving through the world that has hardly changed in 1,000 quiet years. The trail to the base of Everest passes through many small villages, each with its own gentle character and quiet beauty. Lukla, with its tiny mountain airstrip, Facting, beside the Silver River. Namche Bazaar, in its great natural amphitheater. Tengbosch, with its monastery on the ridge. Dingbosch, with its terraced fields. Le Boucher and Gorakshap, near the foot of the mountain itself. Imagine, sweet listener, walking slowly from one village to the next, each one a soft pearl on a long, dreamy thread of trail. You arrive each evening as the light grows golden, and the villagers welcome you into their warm lodges. You sleep beneath thick wool blankets, listening to the soft murmur of distant prayer flags. Each village holds its own small magic, and the journey itself becomes a slow, patient meditation on softness, on warmth, on the gentle rhythm of moving feet. The plants that grow in the high meadows around Everest are tougher than they appear, soft on the outside but rooted with quiet strength. Many of them grow low to the ground, hugging the soil to escape the wind, their leaves thick and waxy to hold in moisture. Imagine, sweet listener, kneeling among them upon a sun-warmed slope, looking closely at a tiny patch of mountain thyme, its leaves silvery green, its small purple flowers no larger than a freckle. There are mosses too, growing softly upon the stones, in colors of emerald, gold, and deep, dreamy crimson. Lichens cling to the rocks in patterns of pale blue, ivory, and orange. They have grown there for years, perhaps for decades, in slow, patient peace. The whole meadow is alive with quiet life, woven through with soft beauty, holding the mountain together with gentle love. In the very highest places of Everest, where almost nothing else can grow, tiny patches of red snow algae sometimes appear, blooming softly across the white slopes in late spring. The algae are microscopic, but in great numbers they tint the snow a delicate pink, like the blush upon a sleeping cheek. Imagine, sweet listener, looking up at a high slope and seeing a soft pink patch of snow, glowing rose-colored in the late afternoon sun, a quiet flush of life upon a vast white silence. The algae have been growing in the snows of Everest for thousands of years, in their patient, microscopic way. They remind us that even in the quietest, coldest, highest places, life finds its way, drifting gently in, blooming softly, giving the white slopes a soft, dreamy color, like a lover's gift. Climbers who reach the summit of Everest often describe a strange, soft feeling that comes upon them at the very top, a deep stillness that seems to settle into the bones. Some have wept gently, Some have laughed softly. Some have simply sat down upon the snow and gazed outward in silence, the world pouring through their tired, joyful eyes. Imagine, sweet listener, that quiet moment when the climb is done, when the long journey has folded itself into completion, when the only thing left is to rest upon the highest place on earth. There is no triumph in such a moment, only tenderness, only a deep softness washing through the body, only the soft awareness that one has, for a single moment, become a tiny part of the great dreaming mountain herself, held in her snowy lap beneath an infinite sky. The colors of sunrise and sunset upon Everest are often described as the most beautiful in the world. As the sun rises, the snow turns pale gold, then rose, then warm peach, then soft cream, the colors drifting across the slopes like watercolors blending in slow, gentle motion. At sunset, the colors reverse, deepening into amber, then crimson, then violet, then at last fading into pale lavender and silver. Imagine, sweet listener, watching one of these slow color displays from a quiet ledge, the entire mountain shifting through tender shades of warmth, the air around you cooling slowly, the wind hushing into stillness. There are no cameras that can quite capture it. The colors must be witnessed in person, drunk in slowly with the eyes, let to settle softly into the heart, where they will glow forever as a private, dreamy memory. Snow leopards leave their tender footprints upon the high snowfields of Everest, and trackers can sometimes follow them by the soft impressions left in the powder. Each footprint is round and gentle, with no claw marks, for the snow leopard walks on soft padded paws like a great silver cat. Imagine, sweet listener, walking along a high ridge in the early morning and seeing a faint trail of these footprints stretching ahead of you, leading off into the mist. The snow leopard herself would be long gone, watching from some hidden ledge perhaps, her silver eyes calm and dreaming. She is so elusive that sometimes only her footprints are ever seen, soft tokens of her quiet presence. To find her tracks in the snow is a small, sweet wonder, a reminder that the mountain is alive with patient, secret beauty. The night winds upon Everest sometimes blow with a soft, mournful sound, like a slow song carried across the great empty slopes. Climbers in their tents can hear the wind sighing past, sometimes calmly, sometimes rising and falling in soft, dreamlike rhythm. Imagine, sweet listener, lying in a small tent at high camp, your sleeping bag soft around you, the wind making its soft music outside, the fabric of the tent fluttering gently like the wings of a quiet, sleeping bird. The wind tells stories there, ancient stories of the mountain, of the long centuries of falling snow, of the slow turning of the seasons. You don't have to understand the words. You only have to listen, softly, with the open, dreaming heart. And as the wind sings its tender lullaby, your eyelids grow heavy, your breath slows, and sleep gently takes you. The mountain is a place where time seems to flow differently. Hours feel like long, slow rivers. Days unfold gently, like soft petals opening one by one. The pace of life upon the mountain is the pace of patient breathing, the pace of falling snow, the pace of clouds drifting across the summit. Imagine, sweet listener, how lovely it is to enter such a place where there is no clock, no rush, no hurried demand. The body slows, the mind softens, the heart finds its own quiet rhythm. Many travelers say that they return from the mountain changed, gentler, slower, more able to rest within themselves. The mountain teaches softness simply by being herself. She has no need to hurry, and so neither do those who walk within her gaze. Time itself becomes a soft, golden river there, and we drift upon it. Edmund Hillary, the New Zealand climber who first reached the summit of Everest, once said that we conquer not the mountain but ourselves. The words carry a tender wisdom, that the great work of climbing is the gentle, inner softening, the slow letting go of fears and rigid thoughts, the patient meeting of one's own quiet heart. Imagine, sweet listener, taking that lesson into your own life, in your own way. There is a kind of inner mountain in each of us, soft and vast, and the climbing of it is the gentle work of being human. The mountain teaches that the journey is not about reaching a peak, but about walking slowly, breathing softly, opening kindly to whatever each moment brings. Wherever you are, whatever you face, you carry within you the soft strength of the great, gentle mountain. There is a soft, ancient saying in the Himalayan tradition that the mountains are our great, slow teachers, and that their lessons are spoken in the language of stillness. They do not lecture, do not hurry, do not demand. They simply are, vast and quiet, holding the world in their patient embrace. Imagine, sweet listener, learning from such a teacher. The mountain teaches you to slow down. The mountain teaches you to breathe. The mountain teaches you to listen, to gaze, to wait, to be. There are no words in this teaching, only presence. And that presence becomes a part of you, settling softly into the marrow of your bones, into the deep quiet of your dreaming mind. Even now, lying still in the warmth of your bed, you can feel the mountain teaching you, gently, kindly, in her wordless, patient way. Far below the summit, deep in the valleys, the lakes of the Everest region rest in glassy stillness, reflecting the great peaks above in mirror-perfect calm. Lake Gokyo, in particular, is famous for its turquoise color, its soft surface so still that the mountains seem to grow downward into a second, hidden world. Imagine, sweet listener, sitting beside Gokyo at dawn, the air motionless, the lake a perfect circle of blue silk, the great mountain Cho-Oyu rising in pristine reflection upon its quiet surface. A single soft ripple may drift across now and then, sent by a tiny breeze, but mostly the lake holds its glassy stillness, holding the entire mountain world within its calm, dreaming heart. To gaze upon it is to feel something within you grow still as well, soft and reflective, peaceful and dreaming. In the soft Buddhist tradition of the Himalayas, the very act of walking can become a slow, gentle prayer. Each footstep is placed with quiet awareness, each breath taken with patient care. The whole journey, however long, becomes a flowing meditation, a soft moving devotion. Imagine, sweet listener, walking such a path yourself, slowly, gently, your feet finding their patient rhythm, your breath drifting in and out like soft tides. The world around you grows alive in a new way. The colors deeper, the sounds softer, the smell of pine and stone richer than before. Every step becomes a small, holy thing. There is no place to rush to. The walking itself is the destination, and the great, dreaming mountain rises above you, watching with kind eyes, blessing each gentle footstep with soft, ancient love. And so, sweet listener, our journey through the soft, quiet stories of Mount Everest comes gently to its close. The great mountain still rises above the world, dreaming her ancient dreams, wrapped in her snowy robes of silver and pale gold. She watches over the rivers, the villages, the prayer flags, the children sleeping softly in the valleys. She watches over you, too, in this quiet moment, drifting towards sleep beneath your own soft blanket. You have walked her trails in spirit. You have rested at her base camps. You have gazed at her summit through the eyes of climbers and pilgrims. You have heard her tender, ancient stories whispered through the gentle voice of this evening. The mountain holds you now, softly, the way she holds the falling snow, the way she holds the patient stars. You are safe. You are warm. You are dreaming. And now, as our slow journey through the high, dreaming world of Everest gently comes to its close, let your body sink a little deeper into the soft warmth of your bed. Let the room grow softer around you, the lights dimming like distant lanterns at the end of a long, peaceful evening. Far away, the great mountain still rises beneath the silver moon, her snowy summit gleaming softly against a velvet sky. The prayer flags flutter in the cool alpine breeze, whispering their tender blessings into the wind. The yaks rest peacefully upon the high meadows, their breath rising in soft clouds. The monks in distant monasteries tend their butter lamps, the tiny flames glowing gold against the painted walls. The rivers run silently beneath the moonlight, carrying drops of melted snow on their long, patient journey toward the warm seas. All of it continues, quietly, gently, while you drift towards sleep. Imagine, sweet listener, that the mountain herself is watching over you tonight. Her great, kind presence reaches softly across the world, finding you here in your own quiet room. She does not speak in words. She speaks in stillness, in soft moonlight, in the gentle hush of falling snow. She tells you that you are safe, that there is nothing to do now, that the night is long and soft, and there is plenty of time for rest. Feel her presence settling around you like a warm, silver blanket. Feel the slow rhythm of her breathing, vast and patient, mingling gently with your own. The mountain has been still for millions of years. She knows the soft secret of patience, of letting go, of resting deeply. She offers that gift to you now, freely, generously, with quiet love. You may forget the stories you have heard tonight, and that is perfectly all right. The words are not meant to be remembered. They are meant only to soothe, to drift, to wrap your tired mind in soft, dreamy quiet. Let them go now, like leaves drifting downward upon a slow, golden stream. The mountain remembers everything. You can simply rest. So now, sweet listener, let yourself drift fully into the gentle arms of sleep. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to think about, nothing more to hold. The day is finished, softly and completely, and the night stretches long and tender before you. Feel the warmth of your blankets wrapped softly around you. Feel the gentle weight of your pillow beneath your head. Feel the slow, peaceful rhythm of your own breathing, soft as falling snow upon a quiet ridge. Your body is heavy now, beautifully heavy, sinking deeper and deeper into rest. Your mind is soft, soft as alpine mist drifting through a pine forest at dawn. Imagine, one last time, the great mountain shining softly in the distance. Imagine the silver moon above her, the stars scattered like tiny lanterns across the velvet sky. Imagine the prayer flags fluttering gently in the cool night breeze. Imagine the soft hush of snow falling upon the high, quiet slopes. All of it is held in a tender, dreaming peace, and you are held within that peace too. The mountain has seen 10,000 nights like this one. She knows how to rest. She teaches you, softly, how to rest as well. If this slow journey has soothed you towards sleep, you might quietly tap the like button or follow Science for Bedtime, so that we may meet again on another peaceful evening, drifting together through more soft and dreamy stories. But there is no rush now. Even that small task can wait until morning. The night is yours. The rest is yours. Now, gentle listener, let go of every last thought. Let your eyelids grow heavy, like petals folding inward at twilight. Let your breath slow into the patient rhythm of sleep. The soft music that follows will carry you the rest of the way, drifting at 432 Hz, like a tender lullaby from the patient, dreaming earth. You are safe. You are warm. You are deeply loved by the quiet of the night. Good night and sleep deeply.